I've seen many candidates make these mistakes over and over again, and trust me, you don't want to be one of them. In this video, I'll break down 7 common interview mistakes that could cost you the job. Watch till the end so you can avoid them. And let me know in the comments what mistakes have you seen other candidates make, and would you hire them if you were the recruiter? Alright, let's get started. At first, it might seem like a good idea having a friend for support, but in reality, you'll likely stick together and miss out connecting with other candidates. Plus, if one of you gets eliminated early while other moves forward, it can be even more disappointing. So no matter what anyone says, an interview is a competition. Out of 100 cabin crew candidates, only about 5 will get the job. So if you need the support, bring a friend to wait for you outside of the conference room with water and snacks, but still make sure that you are not glued together as pack of twigs. Please focus on networking, meeting new people, and making the strong impression. A lot of candidates already know what kind of questions and tasks to expect at the interview. We even have 100 real cabin crew questions on Space.net that were asked to other candidates. And the mistake here is writing out answers, memorizing them word for word, and not even knowing if they're actually good. It's even worse if someone helped you to craft your response, because recruiter might ask slightly different questions and suddenly you freeze. As a result, your memorized answers will stand out from your improvisation, making it obvious for recruiters that your previous responses were not genuine. So don't memorize, practice. Answer questions in your own words over and over until your responses sound effortless and natural. Some candidates think they need to stand out with jokes, flashy outfits, overly complex sentences, or by listing all their achievements. But let's be real. When the recruiter asks for a simple introduction like your name, service experience, maybe dream destination, and why, that's all they want. There is no need to mention your math school background, your Employee of the Month award, or that you're here just to test your luck. Stick to the point, and if you're unsure whether something is relevant, just follow recruiter's instruction. And if the instructions aren't clear for you, just trust your intuition. And as for humor, yes, it can be great, but use it wisely, maybe in group discussions or one-on-one with the recruiter when it actually fits the situation. And for sure, you might hear stories like, oh, I just show up at the interview 10 minutes late in yellow pants, cracked jokes, and still got the job. But that's survivor bias. For every person like that, there are 99 others that didn't make it. It may seem obvious, but some candidates don't realize the impact of speaking their native language at the interview. They assume that it's not a big deal, but it can make others uncomfortable. I've personally experienced this during flights when some crew members would laugh and chat in their own language, while others felt excluded, wondering if they were being talked about, and it created tension in the team. The recruiters, who were once cabin crew themselves, know this dynamic very well. That's why they expect to hear only English from you during the interview. Of course, knowing multiple languages is a huge advantage, but you'll have the chance to highlight that later. And for now, focus on showing how confidently and naturally you can communicate in English. For me, this is one of the biggest mistakes that stand out immediately. Even as a fellow candidate, you can see when someone starts justifying themselves, and it never looks good. So there is no need to do it at any stage of the interview, whether in group discussion, role plays, or one-on-one with the recruiter. For example, when you arrive late, there is no need to waste time explaining why you're late. Just state the fact and move on. And the same applies to final interviews. If you're asked about a conflict with a colleague, don't try justifying yourself as perfect and the other person as the problem, even if that was actually the case. Learn to recognize the difference between stating the fact and making excuses. This one applies specifically to the English test. Don't even give the slightest impression that you're looking at someone else's paper, glancing around, or feeling restless. Recruiters notice these things. And English is something that you have to learn before the interview. And during the interview, use your time wisely, focus on reading questions carefully and thinking through your answers. On my platform, we already have more than 800 users, and around 20% of them have English level of C1 and higher. And if you are among 80% whose English is weaker, please remember that candidates with stronger English are competing with you for the same job. This one should be obvious. Cabin crew by nature love to vent about long hours, exhausting schedules, unfair flight assignments, or of course about salaries. And yes, many of those who say, "I'm ready for anything, just hire me," at the interview will be the first to complain after a week on the job. That's why recruiters want to hire strong personalities. So during interviews, be careful, don't complain about your previous employer, living conditions in your country, family, friends, and of course past rejections. Remember, you're strong, you know your skills, you know your goals, and you know what it takes to achieve them. From my experience with candidates, the ones who land the job have this mindset, and now it's your turn to build your confidence. That's why I created AI-powered interview training tool where you have to practice, think for yourself, and analyze a lot. Yes, I know it doesn't sound like a flashy ad, but my goal is to make you truly competitive. And the mistakes I've mentioned above are just a few. There are many more obvious ones which I haven't even covered. Make sure you're not making any of them. And if you want structured practice, try answering real interview questions on Space.net. It is the best way to be fully prepared. And if becoming a cabin crew member is your priority, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.